What's going on, people? Welcome back to the Nerd Council YouTube channel. My name, as always, is Timmy, and this is my review for what I consider a top-tier contender for Game of the Year, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, honestly, before I went into play this game, I was already expecting big things. I was already excited because I was a big fan of the original Spider-Man game, and to be honest, this game met my every expectation and then some. First and foremost, I've got to say a big thank you to PlayStation and Insomniac for sending me a copy of the game to review. Again, as always, you guys are amazing. But this game, guys, this game filled my soul with such fullness in terms of gameplay and story and overall blackness, if I can even say it. The game is just so good. It's such a good game. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it all. I really will. But I'm not joking when I say this game is easy contender for Game of the Year. The same way the original Spider-Man game was an easy contender for Game of the Year, this game is up there. It's so good. So good. So let me break it down for you. But before I get into all that, guys, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We are trying to reach 1K before the end of the year. I don't know how possible that is, but guys, every like and subscription counts. I appreciate all the support as always. But yeah, I'm gonna go give you 5 minutes to go and do that. I'm gonna just wait here. When you're done, let me know. So, the story picks up a couple of months after the incidents of the first Spider-Man game. Miles is very much into the role of, being the second Spider-Man. He's moved to Harlem with his mum, and essentially what happens is Peter and Mary Jane go on a trip to Europe, and it's Miles' responsibility to look after New York while Peter is away. So the whole game is more or less about Miles stepping full on into his role as Spider-Man, taking on the responsibility of looking after the people of New York and especially Harlem, his new home, while trying to navigate the new threats that are very ever-present in the game. The story is not long. It's not a long story, it's not a long game, but that does not mean that the game itself isn't full and fulfilling in terms of what it offers. This is a spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to spoil anything in terms of who the main villain is, or who might come up later, or what villains may even be returning. But nonetheless, the story alone is solid enough in the fact that you take on the role of Miles becoming his own Spider-Man, not just like the second Spider-Man or becoming the other Spider-Man. He becomes his own Spider-Man through his movement, his fighting style, his ethics, and what he stands for and what he believes is right as a superhero. Alright, let's talk about combat. C-O-M-B-A-T, right, listen, right, again. If you played the first Spider-Man game, you know that combat is a fluid experience, but in this game you get the addition of Miles' two brand new abilities. That's his Venom Bite and his invisibility. Now, the Venom Bite is not just, a quick little sting and you're done. No. This thing does damage. This thing does bits. I'm not gonna spoil, the full tier of what it's capable of, but in game, you're gonna want to fill up that Venom meter to do some real damage to these enemies, man. The way, man, I'm trying so hard not to spoil it for you guys. I want this to be as spoiler-free as possible, but the way you move about on the field as Spider-Man, from dodging to the acrobatic movements you do to defeat enemies, to the takedowns are a beautiful experience. There's these mini cinematic moments in the game where it's just like you and this one enemy and you're just doing the absolute most to take them out, and they're wonderful. It's literally the two things that separate Miles' combat to the original Spider-Man game. It's the Venom and it's the invisibility. They're such key parts of what makes combat in the new game much more interesting than, say, the old one. I mean, I would liken them to the suit abilities that you did have in the old game, but those were more of a gimmick. These are very much part and parcel of who Miles is as a superhero. Miles' venom and his invisibility are part of who he is as a hero and part of what makes his combat interesting for me. I didn't see any kind of real repetitiveness in terms of how he fights, comparing that to Peter Parker in the first game. So, I mean, but I still enjoyed it regardless. I'm not going to be like, well, that flip, I saw that flip in the first game, so, you know, I don't really like, no. It felt different, it looks different to me anyway. If there are any similarities, then that's probably to be expected because, you know, Peter trained Miles. So Miles will pick up some things from Peter. And having said that, the good thing about this game is that you don't go through this whole process of having to learn all those abilities that you had to do as Peter in the first game, like web zipping and the super jumping and all those kind of other things. You know that from the jump, you know that from the bat. So you go into this game with a full understanding of what capabilities you have as Spider-Man. But as you continue, what you do progress in is the newer abilities of the Spider Venom and invisibility, and, you know, overall combat as well. You know, there is a skill tree. The skill tree is very basic. It's not as complex as the old game. But again, it's just down to how Miles is portrayed as a hero. Combat is great. Enough said about combat. Combat is great. Now, movement in this game is as fun as an experience as it was in the first game. I'm not joking, hands down. Now, if you play the first game, I'm going to reference the first game a lot because that's the foundation of all this. So when you play the first game, you very much felt like you were Spider-Man. You were Peter Parker, swinging through New York City, doing flips, tricks, and dips, zipping left, right, and center, launching weapons all over the place, and you know, doing the things that Spider-Man would do. Now, when you're Miles, it's a whole different experience, but for good reason. Miles swings in such a manner that's almost as if like he has to catch himself in a moment where it's like, oh crap, I'm Spider-Man. And there are moments where he looks like he's wobbly, disjointed, like he's still finding his feet. And there's these little moments where like he'll jump off buildings and he'll go into like the bottom of a swing and he looks kind of shaky. And then the next swing, you couldn't tell him apart from Peter. There are these moments where he's like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. Like, I am Spider-Man. I am, you know, the hero of New York. I am the hero of Harlem. Like, it's such a wonderful experience to swing as Miles. Like, listen, I did it for an hour straight. I just swung as Miles, doing flips and tricks, zipping left, right, and center. Like, that's how much I enjoy web swinging in the games. There's such a unique experience that you can't really get in a lot of games. Having that kind of movement and having been able to portray a character like Spider-Man in such a good way, Insomniac, hands down, well done. You've not got it wrong since, and I don't think you'll ever get it wrong again. Like, it's superb. Movement is superb, period. The game doesn't shy away from Miles' blackness and Latino hereditary in any kind of way, manner, shape, or form. Whether that's in the language that he uses to speak to people, the interactions he has with other people, whether it's to do with the music that you hear in the background, whether it's to do with the overall feel of the game. Like you get the experience of Miles being a black Latino teenager in New York. Very much like if you ever watched Into the Spider-Verse, it's very much that same experience where Insomniac were very much just like, you know, we have to acknowledge the fact that Miles is black Afro-Latino, like he is. That there's no escaping that. And for a lot of people who want to do this whole thing like, oh, you know, they're forcing blackness on this, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, someone made a very good point on Twitter. This is Miles' story. You are playing Miles' story. You may not see yourself in Miles' story. You may not fully understand Miles' story because you don't have that shared experience. But this is Miles' story, not yours. So because you feel like the narrative of an Afro-Latino experience doesn't sit well with you, or you don't understand it, that's not Insomniac's concern. Their job is to tell Miles' story. There's a moment in the game where they even acknowledge Black Lives Matter, and for a game that's set in 2020, you would expect, for the most part, that an Afro-Latino teenager living in New York would have something to do with Black Lives Matter, would be very much in support of Black Lives Matter. So to feel like you're going to go into this game, to want to play a Spider-Man game about Miles Morales and not expect any form of blackness or his, you know, Latino hereditary explored in the game at all, listen, close the case, go take it to GameSpot, go get £2.99 for it, and you know, naff off. Because that's not this game. This game is very much a game about Afro-Latino teenager, and you're gonna accept that, you're gonna bugger off. Period. Now, obviously, I said this game is easy contender for Game of the Year. I stand by that. I don't think that is a fast of a thing to say. Of course, I might be a bit biased because I am a big Spider-Man fan. I'm a big Marvel fan. So, me saying it was contender Game of the Year might be a bit biased, but I don't care. I don't care. I'm not in charge of the Game of the Year, categories and stuff. But I said what I said. I said what I said. Listen, Miles Morales is an easy contender for Game of the Year. I want to see it win. I want to see it up in categories because the game is brilliant. It's a brilliant game. It's hard to fault the game. It's very hard to fault the game, right? Having said that, I wish the game was a bit longer. That's probably my biggest thing at the moment. I wish the game was a bit longer. I wish there were more side quests to do in the game. Again, the game is not perfect, but I don't want to nitpick here and there. My main issue is I wish the game was longer. That's probably it. But again, easy contender for Game of the Year. It's a brilliant game, and having played it on the PS5 is PS5 gaming is an experience of its own. I'm going to talk about that in another video, trust me, but playing this game on the PS5 cannot compare to playing it on the PS4. I'm telling you that for a fact because of this thing right here. This DualSense controller and the haptic feedback and the way these triggers respond to things in game, nah. Trust me, play this game on PS5, people. If you get the opportunity to play it on PS5, it's a whole different experience to what the PS4 is going to offer you. Still phenomenal game if you play it on PS4, granted, but the PS5 experience is going to be nuts. Play it. I'm telling you, play it. So, overall, I'm easily going to give this game an 8.5 out of 10. Again, I wish it was longer. If it was longer, I would have given it a 9. I don't think any game is perfect. Having said that, there have been a few games I've given 10 out of 10s for. Just I'm a bit weird with my ratings. But this game is a solid 8.5 out of 10 for me. It's a great game, fun game. I'm halfway through New Game Plus, and I am platinum this game. I platinum the first game. I'm a platinum this game too. It's gonna sit very nicely among my collection of platinum games, man. This game needs to be completed to the fullest. There are some great Easter eggs in there as well. Look out for a couple of them. But honestly, guys, this game is so good. And again, thank you Insomniac and PlayStation for letting me review it. I had a lot of fun with this game. I can't say more than that. Honestly, the game is so good. I keep saying it, but the game is so good. But that is all I have for today for you guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for lasting this long in my video. Thank you for entertaining my ramblings and my wayward thoughts and opinions. But we will be back with more content for you guys. But again, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We're trying to hit 1K. Help us hit 1K. Share this video with your people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, whether or not you feel this game, whether you're going to buy the game, whether or not you dislike the game, dislike the franchise. Let me know. Listen, anything or any thought you've got regarding this game, dump it in the comments. Let's talk about it, people. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Facebook. Hit me up everywhere. But let's talk about this game, because for this game to be one of the titular games on the launch of the PS5 speaks volumes, and it was a good decision to do. A great decision, honestly. I am so glad I got to play this game. And I can't wait for the DLCs. The DLCs are coming, I can tell you for a fact. DLCs are coming, I can't wait for them. But until next time, people, peace out.